It's nice that the tables are split so you don't have to go over the table.
Kind of nice. Yeah. Also makes it interesting when I have to do a standing long jump into the camera. So I'm thankful Nick helps me navigate occasionally. How we doing? All right? Good. Take a look. We'll talk at break if anything got docked that shouldn't have gotten docked.
Okay.
Okay. So, and remember, sometimes it's just because sometimes a fine-toothed comb is a little too fine. And we can fix that. That's easy to fix. Looking forward to this week. Okay, you got your project on Thursday, which is super counting and simulations. Hopefully you're working through that okay. Don't overthink the last page. I do apologize. Linda caught a little typo, which I didn't even know was there. I referred to an example 9. I'll get that fixed and I'll re-upload it so it's fixed. I referred to an example 9 in there, which is obviously a typo because there is no example 9. It looks like it should be example 5. I'll fix that. Hopefully it didn't confuse you too badly because honestly, you don't even need to know that to do that problem. It's just an example of Sean trying to be too helpful and then screwing himself up. I did it in 105 just recently too, trying to explain how to solve an equation when you didn't have to have it explained, and I ended up confusing half the class. So I'm pretty good at that. Apologies. So that's that. It's got an Excel component, so if you have a Mac, I wouldn't wait until Thursday morning at 2 a.m. to start it at home, because you might run into problems. Try to spend, a couple people have told me that what they've done is they just come into school and banged out the Excel part here in a computer lab, and it takes literally, I don't know, 10 minutes, I'm guessing, to push the F9 button a few times and write the numbers down. So if you need to, I mean, theoretically, you could get that done Thursday morning before you got here, assuming there's a computer lab open. I'm not condoning waiting till the last minute to do anything, but I'm just saying if worse comes to, oh, Vivica, go ahead.
I was going to say on the Mac, the F9 doesn't work, and so you have to double click it and then press enter in order to make it.
All the more reason, use a PC. I have spent so much time trying to make, I'm not saying that Macs aren't superior, because they are to PCs in almost every way, but I'm saying that because you guys don't have access to them, universally you have access to a PC and Excel. I write them for that. And this always happens, and people always tell me, and I promptly forget 5 minutes after I've been told, and that's just a function of my crappy memory. So you can do it on a Mac. You can do it on a Mac. You can always Google how to do it on a Mac too, but it's just easier. I mean, you end up spending more time trying to fix it than just using the PC in the first place. Not that I don't want you to use Macintoshes, because they are, like I said, superior in every other way, except for the fact that they're not universal. So, what else? The fog is freezing, that's beautiful. It's actually getting colder, it looks like. That's nice. For a fun ride home. Quizzes, I put some quizzes up, I think.
You did.
I did. Did I put 2 up?
Yeah.
Good. I'm working on 2 more right now. One is a Gambler's Ruin quiz. I worked on that one last night. And one is gonna be either Pascal's Wager, which is where Pascal uses mathematics. Pascal, if you might remember, I think I mentioned him a few weeks ago, he invented probability with Pierre de Fermat. Those 2 guys together invented the course you're sitting in, which is pretty cool. And they invented it by betting. So actually I'm working a quiz together where Pascal explains, on average, it's better to believe in God than not to believe in God using mathematics. Very, very clever. Very, very, very clever. So I'm going to have you do some Googling and research into Pascal's Wager. And I got some other quizzes in the background too. I'm trying to get at least 2 a week plus an in-class one. I wouldn't be worried about the number of quizzes you guys are turning in. I've been watching your numbers, and everybody on average is down to needing about 2 more. And we've got 3 more weeks to go. So even if I was to post 1 quiz a week for the next 3, you're golden on average. Of course, I'm speaking on average. I'm not posting 1 a week. I'm posting at least 2 a week, usually closer to 3 a week. So again, I'm not that concerned. But don't, if you need 5 or so, don't forget that. I put that little reminder on your progress reports. You know, you have this many more to do, trying to get and I make it yellow, just like Burger King, get your attention. So pay attention to that. Make sure you're getting all your quizzes in. Also, don't forget you have rainy day corrections on your exam you can still do. And there's a rainy day quiz correction coupon you can use as well. If you tank a quiz, you can redo the quiz for credit, which is nice because I've been putting video solutions on all the quizzes, the past ones. Once you guys turn quizzes in, that Friday I record solutions to this week's quizzes and then post them. So if you want to correct a quiz, you can see how to, at least one way to sludge through them. Okay? And that's it for this week. A couple quizzes, or not, depending on your choice if you want to do them or not. And also, somebody asked me this too. They said if we get our 10 quizzes in and we're happy with how our quizzes go, can we turn quizzes in and not have them count against us if we don't get 10s? The answer is no. If you turn a quiz in, you will be graded and go into your grade book. However, then they counter that by saying, well, how do I know if I'm doing them right or not? And I say, well then just don't hand it in and watch the video when it gets posted. And you'll have the solutions and you'll have a method of solution. So you don't actually have to hand them in if you don't want to. And then they say, well, what if I want to boost my grade? I said, well then turn it in and let me grade it. Well, what if we don't do well? And I'm like, we're having the discussion around a circle. So the idea is if you hand it to me, if you put it in the pile, it will be graded. Good or bad, it will be graded. If you're happy with your grades, there's no reason to hand any more in. Unless you want to offset your exams and projects, which of course will happen, yes? If you turn in more than 10 quizzes, then your quiz total is worth more points than either exam or the project sum. They're all 100 points, minimal. 100 points of quizzes, 100 points of projects, 100 points for exam 1, 100 points for exam 2. Turning in more quizzes just makes the quizzes worth more than the projects and the exams, which is actually, I like that. I like that. All the research I've been consuming recently says if I assess you constantly in little chunks, it's better than just giving you these big exams a few times a term, which I think the rest of the academic world will pay attention to. It's rather than just giving you a midterm and a final and calling it good. That's kind of ridiculous. It's better to assess you guys constantly, which is I'm trying to do with the quizzes. So, that makes sense? Good. Good. Guys are ready to look worn down. Marty, go!
So if you've already turned in your 10 quizzes.
You're golden.
And you turn in additional quizzes.
Yes.
It doesn't really matter if they're 10s or not, does it? Because
Well,
they're just additional
if
points.
your average is already very high, it probably doesn't. The idea is suppose you didn't do as well as you wanted on the first exam, and you're concerned about your next exam, just for whatever reason. I mean, I don't, hopefully the exams aren't causing you any kind of loss of sleep because they're out of class. I'm working on that too. That'll be posted at some point this week. And that's not due for 3 weeks. You got plenty of time to work on that. I'm in the process of actually putting those questions together as well. So what some students like to do is just do more quizzes and offset some of that fear of that large assessment that's coming. So, I mean, it's really a personal question you have to ask. I say on average people have 2 or 3 left to do. Some people have 6 left to do. Some people have none left to do. But on average it works out to be about 2. I've got a little column at the bottom that tells me the average. So basically it just depends on how you want to use them. If you want to just meet the minimum and call it good, then you're golden. And you can just, like I said, you can do them and then check the videos to see how you're doing on them. So it's a tough one to answer, unfortunately. I can't give you like a concise, simple answer for it. I wish I could. I just can't.
But it's just additional points towards your grade.
It is, and this is the part that's kind of weird. I don't put this on your progress report, which is strange because that thing is full of numbers. But you each have a sum total of points you've earned and a sum possible total of points you could have earned, and it's different for almost every person because of the number of quizzes you've turned in. Does that make sense? So minimally, you have to have 400 points in this class by the end of the term because you have to have 10 quizzes, 4 projects, and 2 exams. That's 400 total points. But people can have much, much more than that. They can have 450 if they do 15 quizzes. They can have 460 if they do 16 quizzes. They can have just the 400. So if you give me a quiz, I increase both the denominator of your fraction by 10 and the numerator by whatever you get on it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So hopefully that answers your question better. And because of that, and mathematics of course, the more points you have in, the less one quiz is going to mean. If that makes sense. That's why some people, I mean, when you get back a quiz and you don't do as well as you hoped on it, remember to look at the big picture. Say you get a 3 on a quiz, you're like, ah! But you'll have a 98 in the course. Because at this stage in the game, a 3 on a quiz is not going to move your grade all that much. Yeah, it dropped your average, but it probably dropped it 1/10 of a percentage point, maybe, if that. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I think a lot of that is just academia and terrifying you guys for so many years. Everything was weighted out of 100 points, blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of the day, they give you some goofy formula, but multiply by percentages to get things down. And that doesn't make any sense. Why not just make the quizzes worth the 10 points they are and the exams worth 100 and make it all work out that way? It's a long answer, but I think it answered your question.
Yes.
Good. Other questions, assessment questions. Pat, go.
Are you going to grade, do you grade the...
I do the exams.
Yeah, but do you grade the rainy day things too?
No, Amber likes to do those. She likes to do the rainy days.
So on our, if we're making a correction on the exam, she's going to grade it?
The exams I do too. Unless she wants to do them, which she usually doesn't do, she usually gets hammered. I think she did a couple of these because she wanted to. I haven't gotten them back from most people yet though.
And we have up until when to get those?
I didn't put a due date on them.
Okay. Cool.
I always struggle with that. I used to make them do the next class day. But the thing is, very often, because we only meet twice a week, you have so much due on every given class day that I just say, I'm going to let it be out there as long as needed to be. But then the problem with that, of course, is it's a double-edged sword because you guys forget it's there. So I'm going to keep trying to remind you that it's there so you don't forget to do it. So just before the end of week 11 would be really nice. That way I can actually get 5 points back for them. Yeah. Cool? You guys all right? Yeah, maybe. All right. All right. Who got chicks this week or weekend? The day-old chicks we didn't get a chance to get them this weekend, unfortunately. Anybody pick up chickens this weekend? Past weekend? No? Okay, well, that's a bummer. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about that today.